are ITC Cybersecurity, empowering businesses with robust cybersecurity protection.
Welcome to Cyphered Reality. I'm Mari Cherry. Cyphered Reality is cybersecurity tips and tricks for everyone, where we unravel the mysteries of cybersecurity one bite at a time. From digital heists to hacker exploits, we uncover online threats and strategies to stay ahead. Whether you're an IT pro, business owner, or just safeguarding your personal data, this is your guide to the cyber world.
Thanks, Mari. I'm Mike Rotundo. I'm the co-host of Cyphered Reality, brought to you by RTC Cybersecurity, small businesses partner in proactive cybersecurity. We are glad you joined us. Our goal on this podcast is to provide information that both a cybersecurity professional and those just interested in cybersecurity can use. Today, we're going to go through some cybersecurity news, and we're going to talk about some basic cybersecurity hygiene that you can do at home or in your business or wherever. But how about, Mari, you kick us off with some news.
Okay, first one we've got is GitVenom attacks abuse hundreds of GitHub repos to steal crypto. So according to HelpNet Security, they said some of these GitVenom campaigns have been running for years. So a little excerpt, a malware campaign dubbed GitVenom uses hundreds of GitHub repositories to trick users into downloading info stealers, which is pretty common, right? Remote access Trojans, which is another one, and clipboard hijackers to steal crypto and credentials. Kaspersky?
Yep.
Okay. GitVenom has been active for at least 2 years. Yep. Targeting users globally, 2 years, with an elevated focus on Russia, Brazil, and Turkey. So when they say some of these campaigns have been running for years, do they mean that one thing, it keeps working, so they just keep using it?
Yes, they have been running this campaign with they vary it from time to time, but they're been running it for a couple of years because it's effective.
Okay.
And that's why.
So they haven't gotten anything to help it, or are they just constantly attacking new targets?
It's not something you could stop with software. It's based on social engineering, because what's happening is that they're going to GitHub and they're publishing these fake projects, and then people are downloading them because it has all this information on it, has really good details, so it's something they're going to try and put into one of their legitimate apps. And so people are just going and grabbing this stuff and they're not looking at it. And that's how, because what happens is the code gets installed and then it calls to a command and control server and starts bringing stuff down. Okay. Like the rats and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And what is a rat?
Remote access Trojan. Yeah.
So do you have any tips, advice, things they can look out for?
Really careful. One of the things that I read was if the instructions are really detailed and finely tuned, they were probably created by AI. And that's what these guys are using for that. So, yeah.
That seems like that's something you would want.
Yeah, that and the help files. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, so they're really going to a lot of effort to create these. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I guess if it's effective.
Exactly.
That's too bad. Okay, so last thing. This is a little bit of a tangent.
Okay. It's okay.
So don't live those half. Yeah. That's all I've got for this GitVenom. Do you have any other insight you'd like to add?
No, I mean, because it's based on social engineering, it's going to be really difficult to stop. And so there isn't going to be a software fix for it. You just have to be really diligent and be careful and not be lazy in what you're doing. You really have to look at stuff. And
that's hard. Yeah. That's
if it wasn't effective, they wouldn't be doing it.
So for people who want to combat that, would real world scenarios work for them, like practices, like kind of like we talked about on the last episode?
Yeah, some of that. A lot of it would be changed, would be prevented by policy and adhering to policy saying you're not allowed to do this, and really keeping the developers from doing it. You should also be able to catch it if you're pulling it into dev code. You should be able to catch it if you're actually doing strong SDLC, or secure software development lifecycle, secure software development lifecycle, SSDLC. And what you should be doing when you do that is you should be scanning the code and pen testing the code before it even goes into production. So you should be able to determine that you've got some kind of compromise before it goes into prod. The problem is if you're not doing proper change management and you're not doing proper security hygiene, then that's how this stuff leaks through.
Yeah, okay. I'll remember that forever.
Yes, you will. You will, because it's DevSecOps, which is the new cool term for it.
Oh, I've seen that a lot lately. So
Yeah. When I got into IT, it was doing your job.
what?
We didn't have a fancy
Rebranding.
name. Yeah. It was just do your job.
That's funny. Well, I mean, whatever works, right? I guess. I
Yep.
don't know.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to the next one then. This one's title is CERT UA warns of UAC-0173 attacks deploying DC rat to compromise Ukrainian notaries.
Yes.
Okay. So DC rat, or also known as dark crystal rat, these names. So hackers can potentially manipulate your mouse, keyboard, and viewing screen. So let's talk more about that.
Okay. So this is a social engineering, human engineering. It's a human hack because it's all brought to you by phishing. It's all behavioral. You're clicking on a link,
Because-
it's downloading software, and
Yeah, because humans are the weak link.
exactly. You just read my mind. Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, so don't download executables from people you don't know. Let's start there.
Wait, no? Do not?
Do not.
Well, I've been doing it every day, so
I know.
I understand.
I get the virus reports on your computer.
That's funny. This I also wanted to ask about is that the binary is hosted in Cloudflare's R2 cloud storage service. So I'm a little familiar with that. But
Okay.
do you want to enlighten
Okay.
me a little more?
Well, Cloudflare's a company, right?
Right.
So, and they have a cloud store. They have cloud storage, so that's where the binaries are being stored, and that's where they're being called from.
Right.
Okay, so they're not, as opposed to being called from AWS or Google or Azure or one of those. They're just using Cloudflare. It's odd that they would use Cloudflare,
Why is that?
but because Cloudflare's big in security, and to do that, I mean, I don't know how or why they would choose Cloudflare other than it looks more secure because it's Cloudflare. So
Okay.
people are gonna be less susceptible to believe that it's something bad.
Okay.
Is really what's gonna be. So
Well, that makes sense.
yeah, it's free
I
object
see the
storage.
appeal.
Yeah, it's just free object storage. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
These are devious people.
They are. They're those little.
All right, I will
Put a pin
study.
in
I
it.
promise. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah. Shoot.
I found out what HTML smuggling is.
Okay. Go ahead.
So adversaries may smuggle data and files past content filters by hiding malicious payloads inside the seemingly benign HTML files.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so HTML is how you build websites,
What?
or it is a website builder.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a markup language for displaying information via a web browser, which is where I was going with that, but I wanted to double check myself.
See.
So basically, it's a fraudulent website. They're hiding bad data inside the website, and you're pulling it down into the HTML files.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah,
Oh, this is a good one. AI tricksters. Tricksters. I like that one.
tricksters.
Spin up fake DeepSeek sites to steal crypto. Okay, so threat actors are leveraging brand impersonation techniques to create fake websites mimicking DeepSeek, which, what is that? An AI chatbot from China
Yeah.
that
Yep.
launched just a month ago.
It did.
Right. So what's their goal? Same as basically all the
everybody else.
rest.
Yeah.
Getting users to
Steal your
divulge-
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Personal and sensitive information.
So what this one does, actually, you go to the DeepSeek, the fake DeepSeek, and you're going to go ahead and give them a bunch of information so that you can use DeepSeek. So you're going to sign up like you would for a website or anything else. And then, you're going to give them your name, email, phone number, possibly, whatever it is. After that, you submit something and they ask you to download something. And then once you've done that, you're downloaded and done. They're downloading PowerShell. So
And they have you putting all of this into a fake CAPTCHA page. So you're just putting it, you're just handing it right over to
it looks viable. So you're going through CAPTCHA and everything else, and yet it is not.
Okay. Well, this one I did. Business Insider says they claim a profit margin of 545% for its AI models of all users.
10 trillion.
2026.
Yeah, it's Cybercrime is just a big deal. And the problem we still have is the same problems we've been having for 30 years is that jurisdictional issues don't have them. There's no agreed upon laws.
Yeah.
So if I'm in Kazakhstan hacking someone in New York, who's going to do it?
Right. What's the plan then for world peace?
The plan for world peace is there has to be a agreed upon way of determining cybercrime.
Worldwide.
Who's responsible? Huh?
Like worldwide.
Jurisdiction. Yeah, there's got to be a jurisdictional decision that's signed on by everybody. I think most Western nations have something, but yeah, I mean, right now, but even in the United States, you got problems. If I hack someone in California, yeah.
I've got a new one.
Okay.
Another news story. U.S. background check firm data breach exposes 3.3 million records.
Yeah.
That one seems like a bummer. Unless, unless you don't have anything to hide, then who cares?
No. No, those records are, I mean, that's everything, right? Those are full records. We do hear that an awful lot, ladies and gentlemen. I've got nothing you want to steal. And it's like, well, you have no idea what they want to steal. You really don't.
I'm fine.
Yeah. It's just my name, address, phone number, social security number, birth date.
Yeah, but why would they want that?
Why would they?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't have a whole lot to add to this one, unless there's something that you would like to point out with it.
No, it's just a bummer.
Yeah, it does. But here's my thought that I had with this when I was reading through it.
Uh-huh.
It feels personal. Like I can see,
Yeah.
I can see someone just wanting to get back at one person and then, doing that thing.
Well, that's how you hide it, right? So the one person.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there.
There was a movie or was it a television where it's like someone killed like 5 people to hide the fact they killed one. Oh, it was the Jack Reacher movie. The first one. Tom Cruise, the guy that was the first one, Tom Cruise, he shot 5 people because he really wanted to kill the one person.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Can happen. That's what
Yeah.
that's not exactly, but that's what I
That's
what
right.
I thought when I read
Yeah.
this, because I was like, I bet someone just wanted to get back at one person,
Right.
but they had to make it look like it
It's called obfuscation.
obfuscation. Oh, okay, I've heard about that. A little
Yeah.
bit. I didn't realize that's what.
You're hiding things. Yeah, that's what.
That's good.
Yeah.
It
I mean, we do
works.
that with data, and we do that with a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what it is. You're hiding data and what you're doing. So.
Yeah. Well, if it works, what's that saying? If something works? I don't know. I can't remember.
If it ain't fixed, don't broke, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Unless you've got more for that one.
I'm good with that one.
Yeah. I wanted to bring it up just because it was a bummer, but
Well-
I don't have much more to add.
Those background checks are like critical now. I mean, you can't get a job without a background check. We advise that all our clients get background checks on any new employees. So, I mean, it's stuff like that. I mean, it's important. They perform an important service. They really need to be taking care of that data a lot better. And I go back to a story I've told a lot is that in a previous life, I had a client that we told them they got to get background checks, and they didn't want to do it because we don't, it's not our culture. And they went and hired a felon as a CFO using a false name.
Oh my gosh.
And then they wanted to know why someone stole $3 million from them and how come we didn't prevent them from doing it. And it was like, you hired a felon using a false name and gave them access to your bank.
Yeah. This sounds very familiar at a organization near myself. I won't say any names. But almost the same thing happened.
Really?
Yeah. Sounding very familiar. I don't know details, so I'm not going to go into it. Yeah, that's too bad for them. I wonder if, let's see. Oh, yeah, DISA Global Solutions.
Yeah. Not good.
That's
Not good.
in Houston, Texas. I just really keep calling them out here. Use
Hey.
these guys. That's a hard
That's in
lesson
the
to
news.
learn.
Yes,
But,
it is.
you know, that's a good way to look at it. What lessons can you learn from this? What can
The
you
other
learn
thing I
from
was
this?
reading about is they didn't go into too much detail on how it happened or talk about how they got it fixed. So
Oh, that
That's kinda
seems-
scary.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that seems sketchy. Why wouldn't they?
I don't know.
Because
They're trying. Well,
Exactly.
sometimes the insurance companies want because what happens is during a breach. Now you used to be you call your IT people. Now it's you call your insurance company and your lawyer first, then you call your IT people, and they're going to control the narrative because, and you're going to have your lawyer and you're going to have their lawyers, and they're all going to agree on a narrative, and they don't want to put anything out in the world that says, "Oh yeah, we really screwed up." You know, our admin password was password, and yeah, we blew it because that is exactly. It's a huge truckload of liability, and yeah, so not good.
Isn't there something that can be? That seems like that should be something that people should have the information to, though, right?
Yeah, well, they're going to provide as much information as they want. They just have to notify you of the breach legally, and then
And then that's it.
they're going to provide credit monitoring, and for 3 years, which is generally the standard norm. Now, there's certain things that aren't going to change. Your social security number doesn't change. You're not going to pick up and move because someone hacked you 3 years ago, right? So there's certain things. Your birth date's not going to change. Your names, even phone number's probably not going to change.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I've had this. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this. Whatever. I've had the same number since forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Since I got a phone.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Oh yeah.
That's a long time.
I've had the same driver's license number since I was 16, even though I've lived all over the world.
Wait, what?
When I came back to Arizona, they gave me the same driver's license number.
Oh,
Like
right.
they had followed me for that long for here.
Right. They
So-
just stored it.
Yeah.
They're like,
So
this
as soon as I went and reapplied, they're like, "Yep, here you go."
Reapplied. Because it doesn't expire for a long time.
No, I just had to come back and get an Arizona license and turn in my Michigan. I think I came from Michigan on that last one.
Geopolitical tension fuels APT and hacktivism surge.
Mm-hmm.
What is hacktivism?
Hacktivism is people that are hacking for a cause. Remember the group Anonymous that came out and was doing all these you're an evil company, so we're hacking you stuff.
Oh, like Dexter.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's hacktivism, except I think Dexter hacks people up, whereas this is hacking. It's kind of like Mr. Roboto, to be honest with you. Have you seen that?
No.
You need to watch that.
Okay. Mr. What?
Roboto.
Roboto?
Roboto.
Roboto.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying rebottle.
No, Roboto.
Domo.
So anyway, hacktivism is where they go and they try and say, oh yeah, we're doing this, this, and this, and because the world's evil. It turned out that Anonymous, which I think may still exist, was using spray and pray. So what they were doing is they were finding spray and pray is they were finding a vulnerability, like a 0 day, and then shooting at a bunch of companies and trying to see where they could exploit. And then as soon as they found the one they could exploit, they're like, we attacked these people because, And so, they seem to be like this big bad. They would just would get lucky. Long story short, is they would find somebody that had the vulnerability, and then they could hack them. But what it was is a collective of people that decided that they were going to be social justice warriors and hack. So
Okay.
it's a big deal.
I mean, it sounds kind of fun, almost like Robin Hood. Sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. That seems so knowable.
Well, I mean, DDoSing a company that sells chemicals, what are you really hoping to gain?
That was my next question. If anything even came of it, what even
Yeah.
happens?
Now, these guys have gotten more sophisticated in that kind of stuff because that was more like nuisance work. Whereas now, this activism, they're actually, so RAS is ransomware as a service.
Yes.
Okay, and so that actually exists. Like you can go buy, and we talked about the reviews a couple podcasts ago,
Yeah.
where you're like, you're gonna go, they're gonna go check it like Yelp for ransomware as a service, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I like this one, it's got a great interface, blah blah blah. Anyway, and they're gonna find
Easy to work with.
yeah, exactly, great tech support, yeah, and then they only take 20% of your deal of what you steal. So they're actually going out and they're finding, renting these services or buying these services, and they're leveraging the tool to do it. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah, and so they're getting more malicious, mainly. So,
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that?
not really. I mean, that's a lot to that. I mean, so 16% was the military. Government military took 16% was targeted sector, followed by manufacturing at 5%. Yeah. So anyway, APTs are advanced persistent threat. Those are state actors.
State actors or bad actors? Is that another term?
APTs are generally state because they're advanced persistent threat. They're sustained. Where a lot of these other ransomware gangs or what have you will come and then go.
Oh.
So they'll change their name. They'll be something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whereas the APTs are persistent. The ransomware gangs
And they
come,
haven't been
go,
caught.
change their names.
Or they're
Or sometimes they'll just change their name because they decide they want to change their name. I mean, it's just, and a lot of these people will have like 5 or 6 names.
Yeah. And even if they do get caught, which the chances of that are really low, right?
Yeah.
What even happens usually? Probably not much.
Well, like one of the big ones is that there was a Russian guy who was famous for stealing credit cards. As long as he didn't leave Russia, he was fine. Well, he put on Facebook that he was going to the Canary Islands for vacation with his girlfriend, and guess who was waiting in his room? The FBI. Yeah.
Well,
So I mean, they get arrogant. After a while, I mean, that's the whole thing behind Krebs on security. I mean, these guys reach out because they want the notoriety. Because they get to a point of arrogance where they're just like, I just want to do it. I want the notification. That's why, yeah.
don't let it go to your head.
It's like you when you win Monopoly and you post it all over everything. I beat Mike at Monopoly.
Oh yeah. I see. That's one of my favorite things. I can't help it though because I love Monopoly.
Yeah.
Post so much online.
Oh yeah. And then when your team wins at Quidditch.
Oh well, see that's different. That's
Yeah.
different. I would post that.
Yeah.
For
This is my new broom. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Nimbus 2001. Okay.
You really got off the rails on that one, but that's okay.
Yeah. A lot of movie quotes today. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I've got one more
Okay.
news. Or do you want to skip it?
No, we can do it.
Okay. 61% of hackers use new exploit code within 48 hours of attack.
Yep.
This is 95% is of healthcare. Is that referring just to the healthcare industry?
95% when they find 95% of 61%.
I guess so. So it says the healthcare industry was particularly affected, with ransomware responsible for 95% of all breaches and impacting more than 198 million U.S. patients.
Right. So 95% of healthcare breaches are ransomware, is what they're saying there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When they say they exploited code within 48 hours of attack.
So once they find a 0 day, they're exploiting it within 48 hours because what will happen is if it gets out or Microsoft finds it or Google finds it or Salesforce finds it or whatever, they're going to make a patch, an emergency patch, and get it downloaded. Mm-hmm. So that 0 day is only good for so long.
Okay.
It's also why you have a lot of hackers going back and trying to exploit old vulnerabilities because they're not, you don't pay attention to them. They're not patched. They're not, people don't think about them anymore. So stuff from 10 years ago,
What?
Yeah.
10 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like very bad cybersecurity hygiene.
It does. It is. We would never allow that.
News.
Yeah.
A lot of news. But,
The one thing about that was they are leveraging AI. So you really have to be careful with the AI pieces of that.
Yeah. It's so helpful, but you gotta watch out.
Yep.
Just don't put a lot of personal stuff in there, though. Like we've said before,
Yeah.
it doesn't. You can make it generic if you need, help with whatever
Yeah.
you're using it for.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, and the reason they're going for healthcare is because that's another thing that doesn't change. Once you've had cancer, you always have cancer. Once you had, those addresses are the data of an individual isn't going to change. And I don't know if Mike Rock's or Chris Rock's theory on how to create a new human being is still there, but it was basically he would go to birth certificates, hack those, or create brand new ones to grow a human being. And so, with a credit report and the whole 9 yards. So he would also use it to kill people digitally, where he
Can
would.
we get him on the show?
You can ask. I actually have the PDF that explains how to do it.
Oh, really?
Do you have anybody in mind?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm not sending you that PDF.
It's a step-by-step?
Uh-huh.
It's educational. I think you should.
It's actually in our Drive folder.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I'm going to go find it. I'm not going to use it.
It's under DEF CON. I don't remember which one, but there should be a DEF CON folder in there.
I'm writing this down. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Basic cyber security.
Okay.
Okay, so right here we have cybersecurity basics for small and medium-sized businesses. And we have, first up, patching,
Okay.
which is?
Patching is like kind of what we talked about with the 0 days, the 61%, is that you get patching done immediately as soon as the patch comes out or within a reasonable amount of time. The idea is Microsoft pushes code that fixes a problem. You install said code. Same thing
Yeah.
with Apple, Google, whatever.
Yeah, and so for our millions of listeners at home, that means any updates on your phone or computer that,
Yeah.
uh,
Especially
updates.
your phone. Yeah.
yes, printers,
Yeah. Printers need to be patched.
routers,
Yep.
what else?
Printers, routers, computers, laptops, TVs.
Oh, TVs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means probably smart appliances too, huh?
Yeah. Because you can they've hacked TVs and turned them into like they're watching you watch TV. That's why all my smart TVs are really dumb. They are not connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form.
No?
So, nope. If I want to watch something to stream, I plug in my Amazon Fire Stick, and that's as far as it goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that. They're giving me
No.
chills.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No.
Okay.
They see that fifth quart of ice cream you eat in the night, and you're like, wow, she's eating a lot of ice cream.
Yeah, it was really good though.
I
It
know.
was really good.
I know.
They're just jealous.
Exactly. They wish they had ice cream.
Exactly. They wish they had 5 pints of ice cream. Okay. Next up, Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Does your router have its original password?
Yeah, that's bad. A lot of people do.
I bet yours doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No,
Okay,
it
if
doesn't.
so, change it. Keep it.
Right.
How about a factory SSID? What is an SSID?
So SSID is what is like your wireless string. So that's what you put into your ID. It's your ID for your wireless. So when you've got, the wireless's name is, Mari1, and then there's that string of numbers or letters or whatever. That's the SSID.
Okay, and you change it.
Yeah.
Is that easy to change?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You just go into settings and change it, set it. So.
Maybe we should do like one episode, like a walkthrough.
Sure. We could do that for our people at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the regular users. Yeah.
Yeah. For people like me.
Because remember, it's cybersecurity for everyone.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we'll start with like we are today, the basics, and we can walk through how to do these really simple things, because I know there's some people wouldn't need that information. I know, but
So you're gonna go to all your family and change all the SSIDs on their wireless?
Yeah. I'm gonna change all the passwords, and I'm not gonna tell them what they are either. Just kidding. That's a really funny prank, though.
Oh yeah, it would be hilarious.
Don't do that.
Wireless is broken. No, it's fine. I can get on.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's so weird. It's working just fine for me.
It's not you're not going to do that to the same person you want to kill, is it?
I don't want to. I don't want to do that to anybody.
No.
I do not.
Okay, good.
Is your Wi-Fi router running? You better go catch it.
Is it tired?
Yeah, it's Monday. Okay. Shoot. Is it running the latest security protocol for your network?
Yeah. So what are you using? The WPA, whatever, what are you using, and what channels is it on, and that sort of thing. So when you go into your wireless, you'll see like 4 or 5 different options. You want the latest one, which is
This one is. I didn't know this was a thing. Have you restricted your IP address range to what you need? So what is that?
So when DHCP, which is how you get address or IP addresses assigned, you could, in theory, have 250 some odd devices on. So the idea is, in order to protect yourself, is to restrict that range. So you do it for the number of devices you have, plus a 10% or 20% variant in case you've got guests or whatever, especially in a home.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't need all that.
Yeah,
just don't.
that makes sense. Okay, so question then. This morning I tried to click on one of those news links to Bleeping Computer, and it said my IP address was blocked.
That's because you're using a VPN. Yeah.
So how do I get around that? If I
Turn your VPN off. Yeah. And then do it, and then get back on it.
So I turn it off, get to the website, and then I can turn it back on, and it will allow me while I'm on the website still, or I have to leave it off while.
Leave it off so you leave the website, and then I always turn my VPN off when we're on the podcast because sometimes they drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then as he looks at his other screen and goes, nope, his VPN's on. So
Figures. Well, maybe we should
do as
talk
I
about
say, not as I do.
Yeah, right. Maybe we should talk about that then, because there's probably a lot of information about IPs and VPNs that I know I don't know, and maybe other people don't know.
Yeah, so an IP is how you talk to things. Now you want non-routable IPs on your router, which means that they go and do what's called NAT, which is a network address translation. So you have one routable IP that comes to your router, and it's on a lease, and generally it lasts, depending on your cable company or provider, it's like 3 days. Or if you're a business, it's a persistent lease. So when you leave your router, you are that IP address. So whatever IP you have inside, say you're 192.168.1.10, when you leave, you may be, 8.8.8, which is actually Google's DNS server. So you would never be 8.8.8.8, 4.8s, but you would be, I'm just using that as an example.
Okay.
So that's why you want a VPN, because it masks what IP you are, right? So it protects your router. And then if you want to do something completely quiet, you use the VPN, and then you use a browser with Tor.
Okay.
So because if you use Tor, then there is no machine ID, there is no anything. So you're 100% anonymous at that point. That's how people surf the dark web. So you should have the Brave browser on your machine, and it has Tor. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Passwords.
Yes.
To your
Those are
users.
important.
Well, I can take them. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, passwords are important. Do your users change your passwords every 6 months?
I prefer it every 120 days, but there's always the old saying that passwords are like underwear, change them frequently. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially
you-
the underwear part. Yeah.
Yeah.
And think of it
Especially-
this way: is that adding just a 1 to the end of your password is simply turning your underwear inside out and wearing it the other side.
Doesn't that work sometimes though? I mean, in a pitch,
In
like if you don't have any
emergency,
other.
maybe. If you don't have any choices, I guess. I don't know.
Just kidding. Don't do that.
No.
Okay. Do you have MFA
Yes.
for email and applications?
Yep.
Is your MFA
What-
using SMS? Oh, what?
What does MFA stand for?
Multi-factor authentication?
Yep. Good.
So smart.
You are.
Is your MFA using SMS or an authenticator app? What does it mean, SMS?
SMS is text message.
Oh. What?
Yeah. And, an authenticator app is a Google or a Norton or a Microsoft or one of those authenticator apps,
Okay. and
which
it'll
is
send
far
that-
more secure than SMS.
Oh, okay. I know that.
Yep.
And it'll send the code to the app.
No, it's already, the app is always running, so it's connected to a server and back. So it changes the code changes every 60 seconds or so.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay, we've talked about this before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We just have a few more.
Okay.
Computers. Are your computers older than 5 years old?
Yeah.
If so, they may no longer be able to be patched and should be replaced. For real, 5 years?
For 5 years. It depends if they're still, if they can still support the updates from, whatever operating system you have. But I mean,
that's not
Microsoft
typical.
is sundowning operating systems. I think it's every 10 years now. So, but the problem with a 5-year-old computer is that it's getting old, it's getting slow, and things are requiring more and more hardware. I mean, when I started in IT, we used 486 DX4100s, and those things were monsters back then, and we had all of 8 megs of memory. You
Yeah, I
couldn't
remember
even
that.
boot up with, yeah. Well, yeah, you were right there with me
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
in a crib on the floor.
Right. This is 92?
Yeah.
I was walking by
93. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Auto lock.
Yeah.
So that just means after like a certain amount of time,
Yep.
locks.
Computer
You have
locks.
to put in your password.
Yeah.
Antivirus protection. It's important. We talked about that before.
Oh, yeah.
If so, does it auto update?
Mm-hmm.
If not, when was the last time they were updated?
Yeah.
It's talking about updating the service.
Yeah, so what happens is
Software?
that just like operating systems, the antivirus will push new software, new fixes, new prevention techniques from. So you have to make sure it's updated because if it's out of date, it can be exploited.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I feel called out on this next one. Do
Oh.
you have a standard configuration for your computers, or do you buy what's on sale at the store?
That applies more for businesses than personal.
Okay.
So what you want is that if you're a small business, we won't get to go say, okay, go to Best Buy or Costco and just buy a computer. You want to say, you want to buy the computer and you want to make sure it has antivirus software, has malware, has all the stuff that you need, the proper operating system, and that sort of thing. So you just want to standardize on your builds. As you get bigger, you're definitely going to standardize on your builds. When we hire our next 100 employees, they're all going to have the same computer.
Right.
So,
Because we'll need 100.
yes.
Okay, but someone at home, they wouldn't need to.
No, someone at home, if you're buying one off, they can
Shop a
just buy
sale.
whatever. They can shop a sale. They can go to Costco or Best Buy or whatever, wherever. So,
Okay. Phones, it's kind of more of the same. Does it have a PIN or a lock? Is
Yeah.
it up to date? Do you have a VPN, anti-protection for your phone? Does it auto lock after 15 minutes or sooner?
5.
Yeah.
And you don't want to use facial rec.
Right. Because you can just use a picture.
Exactly.
Yeah. You
So,
can just use a picture to unlock someone's phone.
yes. It's also, if you're traveling overseas, a really good idea not to have your face in it, because if a criminal or God forbid, the secret police, or if you're wherever you happen to be, and grabs your phone and shoves it to your face, they can unlock it with a pin, a 6-digit pin. They aren't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I just actually read a news story about a reporter in Egypt that was looking at something, and they tried to take his phone and get him to force it unlocked. They turned his hand around so his face was, so it was looking at his face. Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't like that.
No.
Okay. Let's see. Have you protected your phone from SIM swapping? You can do
Yes.
that through your provider, right?
Yes. Yep.
Usually just online. Don't worry
Yep.
about that. Have you protected your phone from someone moving your number?
Same thing at your provider. Yeah.
Can anyone do that?
Yeah. As long as you've got access to your account, you can put those security controls in place.
I mean, who can move your number?
Well, if someone were to hack your phone and then be able to get into your provider, and then they can go
Okay.
ahead and move your phone to their phone. That's how they do the SIM stealing, SIM swapping.
So you need to have other passwords or pins or questions in place. So
Yeah.
they
And
don't
your
have
phone
access.
security should have, Verizon has a password, and it pushes something too. So
Yeah. Okay. Policies. Do you have policies telling your users what is acceptable to access on your work computers? For example, do you restrict social media?
Yeah.
Is this gambling?
yeah.
Yeah. That seems, well, I think this is funny to me because it seems pretty like common knowledge. Like this shouldn't have to be explained. But
Yeah. Well, I've told you before, I had a client that had somebody that worked for him installed crypto mining software on their work computer, and would just work all day and let the thing crypto mine
right,
from his work.
because
I mean,
why
and
not?
you would think common sense, right?
You would think. Okay, so question then, because I have for my job, and a lot of people do for their job, they need to access social media or
Right.
other sites like
So,
that.
so typically in the policy, you create an exception. If it's part of your job, then you can do it. So
And no other safeguards in place, or it's just the regular.
a lot of people will
passwords,
block it at the
MFA.
firewall. Yeah. Well, yeah. At the Facebook. You want as much security on your social media as you have on your email, if not
Yeah.
more. But a lot of companies will simply just block it at the firewall.
Okay.
Now, the problem is everybody's got a phone now, so blocking it on the firewall from your work computer is fine. I'm just going to go look at it on my phone.
Yeah,
So
but if it's their personal phone,
you can't do anything about it.
right?
So by policy, you put it out there just to, if someone's doing it excessively and it's impacting their job, you can use it as a disciplinary measure.
This is like I was just thinking the last one, policies. It's only for businesses, but I mean, if you really wanted to set up policies at home,
Yeah, especially if you got kids.
right?
Yep.
Written up.
Yep.
Check the rule book.
And you will sign these children. I don't know how to write. Well,
It's not
put an
a
X.
bad idea. It's
No,
not a bad idea.
no. You set the ground rules. They know how to behave. Yep.
All right. Do you have an incident response or disaster recovery plan? Do you
Yeah.
have a policy on what data can be stored on local computers? Kind of just talked about that too.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just more policies. Hiring, termination policy, background checks.
Yeah, we talked about
today.
that.
Hopefully their info didn't get stolen. Employee contracts, contractors take cybersecurity training, and that can be decided per company, right? Or is there?
Yeah. Definitely employees need it, but contractors, that's up to you because, and the company you're contracting with may have their people take cybersecurity training on their own. So,
Well,
yeah.
but I'll leave that to somebody else. I can't do
Yeah.
everything. I gotta
No.
leave jobs for other people sometimes.
It's true. You're good that way. You're generous.
Anything else to add?
No, I think at this point, Mari's telling me that she'd like to be done talking to me.
I'd just like to stop recording.
All right, well, with that's it for today. Stay smart, stay safe, and remember the only thing you should leave unlocked is this podcast. Take care, everybody. Stay classy.